casual game in every aspect. The art, the mechanics, the way it works, everything. And you gotta tune it so that it all works together. It's no use having a super competitive game that looks like a casual game, which is a big part of what I have.
At the moment, the kind of scope that we're trying to keep it at is small. And this is also something we say to anybody who wants to make games. Don't make the first thing you want to make the biggest thing ever. And if you can't make the first thing you thought of, make something smaller. And if you can't do it, make it even smaller until it's like Dead Run. Dead Run is this big, and it still took forever. And it's not to say that like I'm gonna keep making tiny games forever. It's more like with each thing you make, you learn, and you can make something bigger. But you can't start big because it's not practical.
Well, I mean, Stasis it was about November or December 2010, so yeah, four and a bit years ago, which makes me feel very old right now. I was bored, and it was kind of getting to the December holidays, end of the year, and I wanted to do something. And I've always been a fan of, Alien and Event Horizon, the science fiction horror sort of things. And I wanted to do like a short film of essentially doing computer rendered environments of just a camera moving through this large abandoned spaceship. And it had the thing with it was going to be skeletons that were still at their crew stations, and the story started to develop from there. And essentially it was just kind of like a natural, I created these environments, and then I played around with an isometric camera, and then I thought this would make a pretty cool game. So I went and I did some mock-ups of what I thought the game would actually look like, and I tried to find a program that could actually help me. And I couldn't find anybody, so I went and I just decided, well, I'm going to do it, let me try to do it myself. And we make like this very small 1 or 2 rooms, a single character, try to get out of the room kind of thing. And the game just kind of grew and grew, and story just grew and grew and grew. And before I knew it, sort of like 3 years had passed, and I had this big, I've actually got the design documents, I had this full kind of design documents of all of the rooms, all of the puzzles, what the game was actually going to entail, started writing an actual script for the game, and yeah, it just kind of got bigger and bigger and bigger.
I think previously there's definitely a mindset of like, I'm not good at that big programming, so I'm not gonna learn it. And then self-examination tells me I was too lazy to learn, therefore I wasn't gonna learn it. I would leave that job to someone else. And then knowing that these tools exist means I now don't have the excuse of laziness, and I can actually learn it myself, which is important. I think anyone wanting to create something needs to be able to make it themselves, whether it be this, whether it be music, whether it be whatever. The guy that sits there and go, I have great ideas, you make them, is a I hate that. And to think I used to be like that.
Hard work is done. Multiple fractures along ribs 3, 5, 11, and 14. Extreme muscle atrophy. Danger of heart failure. Danger of pneumothorax. Seek immediate medical attention.
Well, in the beginning, I'm an artist, so I did all of the art initially, and then I tried to figure out the programming stuff, and I just kind of Forrest Gump my way through it, and really, I just sort of tried to figure out like what was actually going on with it, and taught myself that side. And then for sound design, I was getting a sound designer, and I went and I found some sound design libraries, and I again just started to mess around with some free programs. Like now I use a proper commercial, like the full Adobe suite and that sort of thing. But in the beginning I was using Audacity, any free things I found, going to freesound.org and found all those sort of sound samples that I could actually find and modify. Music, I actually went out and bought myself a MIDI keyboard, and I tried to play my own music, which didn't turn out that badly, surprisingly. But currently right now with the Kickstarter, because we actually have additional funding, I've been able to get additional composers to actually provide the proper soundtrack. And then writing as well, we got some additional writers to come on board, so I essentially wrote the outlines for what I actually wanted, handed it over to them, and they did a lot of the creative writing for them. A lot of the writing is extremely time consuming. You could spend a year just writing a game like this. I think that our final word count is something like 51,000 words or something in the game, which is a novel. It's a book, yeah. So getting that outside help with the writing is also really good. But essentially 90% of the game is me. I'm doing all the art, all the programming, all the animation.